All right, so unfortunately, there's been no new news or no new updates on any of the assembly bills currently going through, including Assembly Bill 1972 and Assembly Bill 2225, which would exempt many classic vehicles from emissions testing in the state of California. So, what I thought I'd do for the time being, I'd make a video telling you about some of my favorite tips and things for getting vehicles through emissions testing, or even just ones that you should know about, which I haven't seen posted in any other list of tips for smog. This is mostly pertaining to California. It's mostly about OBD1 and earlier, so anything 1995 and older. Some stuff will pertain to OBD2. If you do own an OBD2 car and you found this video, what I recommend is just go get an OBD2 reader. You probably failed smog because you have a check engine light. You really plug this thing in, it'll tell you exactly what was wrong, why it threw a code for a check engine light. And these things are, I don't know what I paid for this like years ago, but it's been totally worth it, and I use it like every few years on something. I mean, I'd say like at least once a year I use this on something, even on friends' cars. You can even get OBD2 readers that connect like to a smartphone, and then you can pull up like what the problem codes are and what they mean fairly easily. So that's for you OBD2 guys. We're going back into the old stuff now. So first of all, if you fail smog, or even if you pass smog, they give you this sheet, and it tells you all the readings that your car put out. It tells you your hydrocarbons, your CO2, and your NOx. Like I said, they give you this regardless of whether you pass or not. If you pass, it says congratulations, you passed, tells you your smog certificate number. Now, if you fail smog, you'll see exactly why you failed smog, and it's on here. So let's say you either want to fix the car, you can go to a mechanic, or you can go to like a friend or somebody you know, or you can go online to like a message board, a Facebook group, say, hey, my car failed smog. Here's, just put like a scan of just that part of it. And a lot of times people know, oh, if you want to reduce your NOx, you got to do this. And I've actually seen people even do it on the Facebook group, Californians for Classic Car Smog Exemptions. There's a lot of people on that group who are expert in getting cars to be legal again. And we kind of welcome people to even post that stuff so we can kind of help you through. Hopefully, a lot of times it's just a matter of replacing some sort of sensor, like an O2 sensor. Maybe the EGR is clogged. Maybe you got broken vacuum lines. A lot of times it's just something minor like that. And anytime you can save money and do it yourself is definitely a good thing. So never throw these away. Another thing is if you do pass, these are good for 90 days. So let's say you just bought a car. Obviously, the person selling you the car is supposed to smog it for you. In reality, I think that happened once in the last 3 years for me, like of cars that I've purchased. I've always had to go get them smogged myself. But even if they do smog it for you, make sure you get the certificate because it has a certificate number. Now this number, these are good for 90 days. So if you decide to sell the car, you can actually reuse that smog. As long as it's within 90 days, you don't have to get it resmog, which obviously smog in the state of California on a pre-OBD2 runs between about $60 and $80 plus your time. So it's definitely worth holding on to these whether or not you pass or fail. Do it. Another thing, gas caps. I don't see any of these lists for like tips for passing smog talking about this. But a lot of times when you get a car smogged, it will pass everything, and then it fails the stupid gas tap. There's a gas cap test. They literally hook it up to a machine, check to make sure the gas cap is good. Now, you're going to feel really dumb if you go down there and finally get your car to pass all the other stuff, and it fails because your gas cap is too old. So what I recommend is obviously check your gas. If you just bought the car and you look at the gas cap, if it looks old, just buy one. I mean, they're like $5 or $10 at any auto parts store. Just go get one, because if you fail because of that, you feel really dumb. And honestly, once you've done that, you really don't ever want to do that again. I've actually been to smog places where they actually sell gas caps. They actually have a rack of gas caps so they can sell you one. I've only seen like 2 maybe that do that. So just to be on the safe side, if you just bought a car, or if it's one that's been sitting a while, just replace the gas cap, because it really doesn't take a lot for those chemicals that they put in the gas to rot the rubber seals and things like that and cause you to fail smog. And then you're redoing a $60 or $80 smog over a cheap part. Obviously, if you do a lot of cars, if you buy and sell cars, or if you own a lot of cars like I do, I recommend finding a shop that you're happy with. This really goes for any kind of business that you frequent. If you're happy with them, frequent them. Send them more business. Make sure, when you send them business, tell them that, that you sent them. So they go, oh yeah, Mike with the white Mustang, he sent me here. He's, that sort of thing. That way they remember you. Anytime you're going to have a better relationship with your Smog Tech if he knows you're a happy customer and you're sending them business. But that's really true with any sort of business when you really think about it. Here's a big one, and a lot of people don't know this one. If you go to the Bureau of Automotive Repair website, you can actually look up the smog history of cars that have been in California. It doesn't show for other states. It just shows for the state of California. So if you have a car that has been in the state of California for a long time, you can actually go on the website. You go to the consumer tab on the top of the website. There's an area that says smog check area. Once you hit the next page, you go to the click on the link for find vehicle smog check history. Now, it'll pull it up. What you got to do is you got to enter either the VIN number or the license plate. I recommend using the VIN number because a lot of cars, the license plate changes. It even says on there, if you have the VIN number, use the VIN number. If the car has like an old blue license plate or something, it's pretty safe just to use the license plate if that's all you have. And it'll pull up the whole smog history of the car, I think going back to like the 90s. And it'll let you know, you can see if it's like a chronic failure. If it failed like once, and then, sometimes cars, they fail and then people fix them and then they're fine again. So that does happen. If it's a chronic failure or if the last smog on it says it's failure and someone's trying to sell you the car, there might be a problem there. So what I recommend is run this on any car you're looking at purchasing because it'll show the history. Also, if you have one of those Carfax accounts, or if your friend has one where you can run as many as you want, Carfax the car, it actually shows you the emissions history, and if the car was fixed by a mechanic who enters everything into the computer, it'll show what was done to fix the problem as well. But if you don't have the money to do Carfax, just at least the Bureau of Automotive Repair will show you if it's ever had problems with passing smog, which I think a lot of people do know about this, and that's why you see a lot of cars on Craigslist and Facebook and whatnot where they block out the license plate number because a lot of people have gotten wind that you only need a license plate number to look up a smog history, which I think is kind of scary to some of these sellers, if you know what I mean. And this actually works for any kind of car that gets a smog, even OBD2. If you have an OBD1 car, this is like a car that's 95 and older that has a check engine light on the dashboard. It's going to have an OBD1 code. Now, you cannot pass a smog check with the check engine light lit. It's not going to happen. They're not going to let it slide. Your car could smog super clean. If that check engine light is on, they will not pass it. Now, you're thinking, well, I can just pull the bulb in the back of the dashboard. You can't do that. When they actually check, when they turn the key on to the accessory position, they look at the dashboard because the check engine light will come on when it's turned to the accessory position before you start the car. If they don't see the light being illuminated, they know you pulled the bulb. Now, if it's one of these smog check guys you got a good rapport with, you don't want to mess that up. So don't pull the bulb. You need to fix the problem. So, how do you find out what the problem is and why it's throwing the code? Now, I'm gonna talk about American cars. I'm sure like all the foreign cars have a different way of doing this. I'm gonna talk about Ford, GM, and Mopar. So Ford, you can get a reader. I got this one at Pep Boys like years ago. It actually uses a 9-volt battery, which is kind of weird. And all it is there's like 2 switches. There's a book telling you how to do it and what the codes mean. And when you do it right, you plug this into a connector that's under the hood of the car, like on the driver's side wheel well. You plug it in and you flip the switch to where it's happy, and you turn the key to the accessory position, and the light will blink, and it'll give you the codes you just read the blink like, dun 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 is 3, dun dun is 2, that sort of thing. So these are definitely good. I use this on my Mustang. I use it on my old Grand Marquis. It'll work for any Ford product from I think like 82 to 95. GM has a reader that's similar, but what most people do, there's actually what's called the paper clip method. The connector on the GM for the reader is actually under the dashboard, similar to like an OBD2. And there's two ports. You can look it up online how to do it. That if you jump the terminal between the two terminals on that port, it will actually, when you turn the key to accessory, the check engine will blink and will give you all the codes you need just by doing that. And obviously, after that, you turn the key off, pull the wire or the paper clip, whatever you use, and get your OBD1 code that way. Now, Mopar has a nice one because there's no like messing with the wires or using a reader. Those you actually, I had to do this on a 90 Dodge van once. You actually turn the key from off to accessory like 5 times, like on, off, on, off, on, off, and then the light will, the check engine light will blink all your codes. So every car is different, but you can still get the codes for those, and that will lead you to what is probably wrong with your car and why it's feeling smog. So, and obviously that's an easy way to fix your car, get it legal, and get it through emissions testing. So, as I've said before, we have no updates on any of the assembly bills about the vehicle emissions testing. So I just thought I'd do a nice little video with some of the tips, some of the things that are less well known. But as soon as we have updates, I'll let you know. If you want to find out, you can join, for Californians for Classic Car Smog Exemptions Facebook group. Also subscribe to this channel because we're going to be giving updates as to what's going on with these bills. And also in the group, we also give advice for people that are having problems, passing smog in the state of California. So until next time, I'll be seeing you.